They just skipped that. Happy New Year. What up, Dirty? Sorry, I'm looking at something else. Waiting for Russell to come on. Not sure when he's supposed to be on, maybe noon. Go to something else for now. Just birdie music.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're all little baby. All right, guys. Well, we are on the start of a little mini trip. It's only going to be like 5 days because I have like 2 court dates. One tomorrow in Oklahoma, one tomorrow, and the next day, the day after, whatever. It's like 3 days in Missouri. So we're just going to be doing some catches, hopefully along the way. Yes, absolutely. Basically, with Oklahoma Pred, we are both trading with each other, but I've testified against them, so they're just drop all my charges. But no, just kidding. But before that little clip ends on a Penguin Zero video. I know, right? I mean, we gotta go to like 99% of the length for some of these people. Okay. Waiting to see if you catch anyone here in Alabama.
Why is I thought I reset the this is an old one. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Anyway, so like we said, at the end of the trip, it's not gonna be every
Where's their drama? Nice, Greg. Where's the drama been? I haven't seen any drama. I was wondering about that comment I had yesterday. It's like something about fighting. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Claiborne said that on a comment. Like, who's fighting? Oh, not in here. Okay. I was gonna say, man, that's one thing I want to stress is that I want as little bit of that crap as possible. That's why. Yeah, I understood what you meant.
We still have 2 more catches from this past trip to drop on there. That's how much shit we had. We had 25 catches in 18 days the last trip, and 2 more still need to get posted. So we're hitting the ground running, and yeah, and if you want to see the babysitter catch and fucking 3-hour cash, 1 to 6 week pot. Join up on locals. That's how you support us traveling the most, catching the sickest. I know for a fact in January we're definitely orienting more shit to locals. We need to build our base so strong on locals that we don't even care about YouTube anymore. And we got to that point, but we hire more people, do more matches than ever. When we grow, sport has to grow, vice versa. So, thank you, Pug Mama, for the phone 99 super sticker. Join locals for that same price. Thank you, TD, for the 199. So yes, locals is only $6. It's usually $7. We lowered it a little bit. This is the only time it's going to be down to $6 this trip. The rest of it is going to remain at $7. But join up now because it will raise up to $8 in like a few days. And we'll raise up to $8. There's going to be people that buy it at $8, I'm sure. So don't be one of those people. Join up now at $7 for your own sake, or I'm sorry, at $6 for your own sake. And obviously when you join at $6, when it gets raised to $8, you don't have to pay. So head on over to locals. This is where this cash is going to be. This guy is a pretty big trader, and he works around kids. I don't know exactly what he does around kids.
Stop and I put a order in a Panera. I never go to Panera, but last time I was there was last year when I got the wife her auto start for her car, and then somebody right before Christmas hacked the app and ordered a couple $100, almost $200 worth of food.
All right, guys.
So I'll be getting that back from PayPal because I got PayPal connected to everything, so it's guaranteed. I'll get that back. I think I'm getting some chicken noodle soup and a avocado BLT sandwich. Most of my channels, I don't go to channels where there's drama. I mean, I spectate sometimes as far as through bio, but I don't actually go to those channels. Okay, he just laid on his horn, so he can get over. I'm not sure why he let this Love's truck just lay down his horn and then pulled over. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, I almost got the broccoli cheese soup. I just wanted something a little bit more hearty. The wife's feeling a little bit under the weather, so I wanted to boost my vitamins. I still take my AG1 in the morning though, so that helps. I don't know what that dude was doing. He laid on his horn too. I could hear it. With nobody in front of him. Yeah, I got OJ at the house too. Yeah, you've said that a couple times now, Greg. Yeah, no, Bao doesn't count. It's an asylum. Hey, who was the troll in Bao's? It said Witchy Bishy. That wasn't Nikki. That was somebody pretending to be her. I popped in there for a little bit yesterday just for the hell of it. Gave it a like, but Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. I like your channel too. I love your singing. Oh, it was Bao's channel, but there was somebody that was trolling him about his little poker thing. If you honestly think any money that is ever being given to Bao is not going directly for Bao, and you're mistaken as to what Bao's objective is. I think his entertainment is worth a few bucks from time to time. I send him money all the time when I'm able to. But yeah, I mean, it's just people that come at Bao with, oh, you're a grifter. Well, no shit. He makes that explicitly known. Okay, why is this truck wanting to come over? Look, what is all these trucks doing, man? Why would you be mad now? The second thing is that it's generally a good idea to never take anything Bao says completely serious either. Yeah, exactly. I think he was kidding there, Greg. I think he knows exactly who you are, and I think he actually has some affection to you. He's called me a troll before. Chopper is my biggest troll, and I love him to death. There he does. He does keep it fun.
Bellows, the Trump-removing insane Maine secretary, is now under fire from this guy, State Representative John Andrews, who says that, Democrats are just going to Democrat. That's all they do. They're cheaters, they're bullies, they're liars, they're stealers, and they want to censor anybody.
Bao actually has one hell of a heart. He just tries to keep it hidden.
And so he's going to explain, we're in this process of investigating whether to impeach this woman. We're going to listen to Shanna Bellows explain her basis for removing Trump. She showed up on MSNBC, her #1 fan show page, and is very excited to talk to them. So we'll see what everybody says about it. But this guy is going to get us started. What is happening in Maine? What is the reaction to this? This guy is a state representative.
Well, anyway, so I'm getting my money back, and Panera gave me a $30 gift card on my app. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm not. There's one right up here. I'm just gonna stop on the way to work. I will do a desktop stream today too, even though it may be kind of weird. I have no idea who's gonna show up today.
Chosen by party insiders, legislature, so it makes the position inherently political, and Shanna Bellows should know that. She should be going out of her way to be nonpartisan. But with this edict, Shanna Bellows has unilaterally disenfranchised 300,060 Maine voters with this partisan move. Our nation is a republic. Maine is made up of citizens and not subjects in the duchy of Shanna Bellows. But keeping people they don't like off the ballot is nothing new for Democrats. They did it to Abraham Lincoln. They did it in the Jim Crow Reconstruction South.
Barack Obama.
Over the decades, The Democratic Party hasn't really changed. They've just gotten much better at public relations.
And John, you mentioned, you used a keyword there, disenfranchisement. And if you look back, a Twitter, now known as X, post from Bellows in January of 2022, she said this: the fundamental right of any American citizen to vote freely, fairly, and to have their vote counted is the premise of our democracy. The Constitution and Bill of Rights are not values to be compromised away, but yet she is not giving those voters the right to vote for their candidate. It appears that Mr. Trump is the front runner to be the nominee in your state. So is she consumed with, drunk with power of her office, or is there some way you can connect those two opposing
She's
statements?
got something lined up for her.
Well, they've repeatedly cited the 14th Amendment, Section 3, and under Shona Bellows' new standard, you could argue that President Biden be barred due to Section 3 with the statement of giving aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. I'd argue that releasing billions to Iran and selling our strategic oil reserves to Chinese interests could qualify that if no convictions are required under Shona Bellows' new rules.
Yes.
And that's why it's such a dangerous game that she's created.
John, I spend a lot of time in Maine. I've got friends up there in northern Maine. I know the state from the areas I go to pretty well, which is that there are a lot of conservatives, maybe not Republican voters, but conservative Americans in the state of Maine. Your state house is broken down, favors Democrats pretty heavily, but a healthy amount of Republicans. The Senate a little bit wider in there. And you've got a Democrat governor. What are the repercussions if the Secretary of State goes through with this and it isn't settled legally? What are the voters in Maine going to think about?
She opened the door to election chaos. I really don't think that we can have somebody as partisan as Shona Bellows being in charge of our elections going forward. I think even extremely progressive Democrat Jared Golden said that she's in the wrong, that he doesn't like Trump and he should be on the ballot. And I applaud him for saying that because he's correct.
Absolutely.
It's the right move. And Shona is trying to jockey herself for the 2026 governor Democratic primary. I'm sure this will be made into a fundraising email in the years to come. I'd put money on that.
Yeah, because she's going to be under attack, right? I'm under attack. The Republicans are attacking me. She's going to make a ton of money and be seen as a Democrat hero.
Yeah, you're right. This is getting bipartisan criticism from both Democrats and Republicans. What are the people of Maine saying to you? I know that this just happened, but have you spoken to any voters?
I was up till about 1 last night answering every phone call I got, and the voters of Maine have had enough. I think for the first time in a long time, we have a shot at a Republican majority in this state.
Wow.
And I would urge everybody out there, even an independent to lean conservative, get out there, vote Republican. You know, I like Ramaswamy and all the things he's been saying, but I think everybody in Maine now is all aboard the Trump train.
The area I frequent is certainly on the Trump train. I can tell you from the signs I see on the side of the road up there. So
Probably going to be just more support for him, right? People are realizing that Trump has been accurate. All of this political gamesmanship,
Hey, Toe.
all of these prosecutions, the weaponization of our
Oh, no
country,
worries.
every single layer has been happening. The left and the media.
Don't worry about it,
are
Claiborne. It's
all
fine.
fake, but when they do this,
You guys are probably right. It was just a drunk discussion. There was no argument. He was actually joking about it. He didn't. None of them even give a shit. But yeah, I appreciate that. Let me know. But yeah, I didn't. I mean, I see it so often. I guess you can't. You just have to call it something else, huh?
Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Madam Secretary.
It just seems so. I mean, even on normie channels,
historian,
you know, regular channels.
saying that you got the 14th Amendment exactly right, and he is the highest authority on the 14th Amendment as a historian that I'm aware of.
All right, I'm gonna run in.
He says you got the 14th Amendment exactly right. As you approach this, how did you do your fact finding that you could then apply to the law?
All right, guys, I'll be right back. Well, that was easy. She literally put it on the shelf as I was walking in there. Perfect timing. All right, let's turn the video back on. Okay. fuck is going on with the sound here, man?
Understand.
Yeah, they're idiots.
Just gotta switch it back and forth. I don't need to keep stopping these videos.
Different states, as a general matter, states have inherent authority over the ballot, and states manage their own elections differently. Different states have different laws regarding ballot access. In Maine, if a candidate is qualified for the ballot, any registered voter may bring a challenge, and then as secretary, I must, in fact, hold an administrative hearing.
Got it.
I'm a hearing officer, not an advocate, to hear both the perspective of the candidate and the challenger. They present evidence, they present witnesses, there's ability to cross-examine the witnesses and contest the evidence. And then my decision is based solely on the record of the hearing, on the exhibits and the witness and testimony presented.
You're not a fucking lawyer even.
My determination. Maine law requires that I make a determination about access to the ballot and issue that determination within 5 days of the conclusion of the proceeding. So I was duty bound to follow Maine law to ensure that candidates, all the candidates who appear on the primary ballot are qualified for the office they seek.
I see you relying on the proof that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection is he took no timely action to stop it. And that is an actual fact of the history that we know. That fact has been...
Took no timely action. Okay, how do you define timely there, Chris? You've got questions about that. You're substituting your judgment. You don't know what Trump was doing back then.
Established by the January 6th committee and by other investigations of that day. And Donald Trump has never once suggested that he did anything at all during the time.
Oh, nothing happened, Charles.
Of doing nothing to stop the insurrection. That seems to me to be a key element of the evidence.
Good to see you, buddy. No, nothing happened. It's just there was
that Trump didn't respond quickly enough, so you're substituting your judgment.
just a discussion about
you don't just get to make that up.
the use of cannabis on live videos that we had.
People to read it on the Secretary of State.
I looked it up, and it is an issue with their terms of service, but it looks like a thing that they enforce as they want to. So of course they would surely enforce that against me, since they enforce it. I've seen them not enforce on anybody else. So
it was illegitimate. He's allowed to have that opinion. We sat here and watched it. That is the process of America. We have differences of opinions. We debate them in the public. The people can vote, and then the people live with the results, right? And in this current case, they shoved Joe Biden in there in front of us, and so Trump has every right to say it was rigged.
To light a match on January 6th, and then did nothing for a time. The evidence presented demonstrated, and remember, the events of January 6, 2021, and this was borne out by the evidence, were unprecedented and tragic. They were an attack, not only
tragic.
on the Capitol, government officials there,
What was it?
Congress,
Say it.
former vice president,
Say it.
but also an
Our
attack on
democracy.
rule of law.
Okay, there it
And
is.
the evidence demonstrated that they occurred at the
I thought she was going to
behest
say
of
democracy. She said
I did too.
and with the knowledge and support of the outgoing president.
She didn't say anything.
Maine Secretary of State Shanna Bellows, who made history today. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for joining our
It's going to be a great ad for her
All right, cut
when
that
she
one
runs for
short. That was a
governor.
5-minute segment. He's like, she's terrible. She's not even saying anything. Bunch of fake platitudes. Now, what's funny is she talks about that. I have no choice, right? I'm duty bound. He says, you made history.
He
You
said
probably
duty.
did a job here. We'll have you back on as a contributor at some point. But this is what she said previously. No forces can undermine our elections. This is the same woman. Listen to how deluded they are and how much their positions change based on whatever they need to get done. Here is Miss Bellows.
Yeah, we'll do a desktop stream from work on the main channel.
What we saw nationwide around the country in 2020.
Got a barricaded gunman, I guess, the other day here.
The will of the voters would be heard.
It was not.
Is those forces.
How about those Wolverines, guys?
Our elections,
Go blue.
the integrity of our elections, and
Going to the natty.
so very much at work.
I was hoping we'd be playing
And
Texas.
You, Shanna, you're the force.
So we can get a little bit
You
going.
are the only person who is disenfranchising hundreds of thousands.
A lot of my viewers are from the
Not
Texas
us.
area.
You, along with the 4 Supreme Court justices in Colorado, are doing.
I don't think I have any viewers from Washington.
But they'll lecture us about democracy. This clip came from Matt Wallace, and it's just exactly who
Yeah, they do.
So what is the
But, you know, they're right.
reaction
I mean,
here?
until
House Chair,
I'm able to not even have to worry about
She
YouTube
posted
anymore,
this. She
I
said,
got to try
"My
and
full statement on the
not step on too many landmines, especially the ones I can easily fix."
She says, today, House Republican Chair Elise Stefanik released the following statement. It says, "Another day, another illegal and corrupt act by the desperate radical Democrats weaponizing
I think I was just
against
issued
President Joe Biden's top political opponent. The far-left Democrat
a static stream key from Rumble. Finally, my numbers got good enough to where they sent me one. So
this is voter suppression.
I don't know if that's for everybody or I don't care. It's going to make setting up Rumble streams a whole lot easier once I figure it out.
Unconstitutional action.
Oh man, this soup smells good.
Currently, it is working its way to Superior Court in Maine, and then from there, I'm sure they'll appeal to the state Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, and then the Supreme Court. And it's going to cost Trump time and money and effort, and it's going to gobble up a lot of campaign resources and legal fees. Now, ultimately, I think it might actually help him. He's spending his money on legal defenses, but it's like almost like free marketing, and everybody just goes, "Wait, what? Are you kidding me? They're throwing him off the ballots? That's kind of
He's not even
insane."
spending his own money. He's using campaign money to pay the lawyers, which is because these are politically based accusations he can legally do.
The direction of the country. And so Tulsi Gabbard was also responding to this. This is what she said.
I have a issue with keeping all my eggs in one basket, Toe.
This move by the Secretary of State in
especially
Maine,
with as crazy as YouTube can get, especially during an election year. Remember last election, how bad it got as far as to the censorship? I don't see it changing much. I see it being just as bad.
State who is a known partisan, who is known to be against Trump. She supported the impeachment of Trump, single-handedly making this decision to say the former president cannot be on the ballot, taking away our right as voters in this country to decide who we want to serve as our next president and commander-in-chief. You take away the party labels, you take away the names of Trump versus Biden. Recognize how dangerous this is, where if this is allowed to stand, one person gets to take away the voices and the rights of every single American to engage in our democratic process. That is literally what is at stake here. So whether people like Trump or don't like Trump, or like Biden, don't like Biden, that's not the point here. If you're a Democrat or Republican, now is the time that we as Americans must stand up for our democratic process in this country.
It's not a democratic process.
Our voice to decide our future.
God, everybody's saying.
She's a former Democrat, so she is awakening to what that.
She's still a Democrat.
And lastly, we've got Vivek. Vivek has always been front and center. He's even argued that he's going to just remove himself from the process in protest if Trump is not on the ballots. And here is his reaction.
But I would say that this is not an action of one person. This is the action of an entire system that has an anaphylactic reaction to one man. And I think they're dropping the breadcrumbs. They're making it clearer by the day. I'm concerned that they will not allow this man to get anywhere near the start line of the election, let alone the finish line. And I say this as somebody who's running in the same race as Donald Trump. This is not how we should want to win. So I stand by the pledge I made earlier on the back of the Colorado decision, and I reiterate it today, that I will voluntarily, as a Republican candidate, remove myself from any GOP primary ballot where one of my competitors, Donald Trump included, is forcibly removed through this unconstitutional maneuver. And I think one thing that the other Republican candidates can do, Kaylee, is to fight against this, to say that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie do the same thing, that if Maine is going to do this, we then take Maine out of the GOP primary process. That's the logical way to handle this, and so I made that announcement tonight. I challenge every one of my other competitors in the GOP primary to do the same thing, to say that we will not stand by idly and watch this brazen form of election interference in the GOP primary itself. And I think that's not a left-wing or a right-wing issue. It shouldn't be. This is about the Constitution and who we are as Americans, and that's why I've taken the position I have.
It's a good position. I think that is showing solidarity, that the process is...
Man, these motherfuckers won't stop calling me.
That there will be some reaction maybe from the party. What are the Republicans doing? Are they going to boot Michigan or Maine out of the primary process, or everyone kind of just goes along and gets along? Because a lot of people would like to see Trump off the ballot in the Republican governance, right? People at the top, I think, would be thrilled if they could boot Trump off the ballot. They just can't figure out a way to do it without alienating and wrecking the party and the country. And so we'll be here continuing to cover This and more, my friends. This is just warming up. You know, these battles are going to go on for the next foreseeable future. And so we'll be here continuing to cover. Thank you for subscribing wherever it is you're watching this. Thanks for sharing this video with a friend or family member, inviting them to come over to our live stream. And we'd also love to invite you over to our newest project called the Watcher Lodge. You can go here to this website. It's at watcherlodge.com. And here, we'd love it if you joined us for our 2024 Fitness Challenge. You can click this Fitness Challenge tab below. We talk a lot about some heavy stuff on this channel, but we want to start 2024 off right, de-stressing ourselves and engaging in some very good behaviors, because we're going to have a long year ahead. What better way to do it than by jumping into fitness? So we're going to be posting threads at the lodge, watcherlodge.com. We're going to have our launch party on the 1st. You can RSVP here. It's all free. Hit the community calendar. Come over there and sign up for the lodge. We're going to be doing a launch party fitness challenge on January 1st. We'll not be streaming here on this channel, so come below at the lodge, watcherlodge.com. We're trying to also be a part of the solution and make sure that we have good health, good wellness, and sustainability into 2024 and beyond, because there's going to be a long road ahead, and we want to make sure we're all here together. So come check it out, watcherlodge.com. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you back here on the next one.
Oh, yeah. Look at this, Sheriff's Department minivan. The hell's this? What sheriff's department is that? Can't be Lucas. I've never seen it.
Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States, is getting a subpoena from Congress. It's about time. Tim Jordan sent
Hancock County
from the House Judiciary Committee. You can see the Washington Examiner has the story for us. Garland gets a subpoena, and this comes on the back of the screen. We've already covered here about the DOJ spying on Congress and congressional aides when they were investigating malfeasance in our government. They say Jordan sent a letter over to Merrick Garland, which we will read, but this...
Sorry, guys. Not sure what happened there. Switch the audio back and forth.
Called Empower Oversight, and he revealed to us that we talked about here that Google had recently told him that the DOJ had subpoenaed it in 2017 for subscriber information associated with telephone numbers of his family members, as well as details about whom the subscribers were communicating with. So Jason Foster was working for our government, and the DOJ was spying on him. So, for example, Foster was working for Chuck Grassley at the time. So he was working on the whistleblowers case. He was part of that. He was going to represent the whistleblowers. And at that time, when he was working for a separate department of Justice, the executive branch, a separate branch of government, they sought data about his practice. To get Chuck Grassley's aides data. He was among numerous staffers who had the DOJ seize their data in 2017 as part of the department's investigation of media leaks about Trump campaign aide Carter Page. DOJ's efforts to gather the private data of some aides came to light in 2021. Foster did not learn who was amongst those aides until October. Jordan said he was worried about the data seizures, but there were a way for the DOJ to pry in Congress. And so Jim Jordan sends a letter and a subpoena to Merrick Garland, of the Attorney General of the United States, DOJ, saying on the 19th from the Committee on the Judiciary from Congress, he said, "Dear Merrick, the Committee on the Judiciary is conducting oversight of the DOJ's use of its law enforcement authority to obtain private communications of members of Congress and its congressional staff members." You see here, Margot Cleveland wrote about this, and we just got up to speed on the background. Jordan tells Garland, October 31st, we wrote to you to request information from the DOJ about the subpoenas that you got to get private communications of legislative branch employees. We sent that letter back in October 31st. Due to the department's inadequate response to the committee must resort to the compulsory process, which means we're getting a subpoena. On November 8th, the DOJ informed the committee via email. You said that we have a change DOJ policies involving members of Congress and their staff, and that we're imposing new requirements accounts to consult with or receive approval from the public integrity section. So, we're not going to do that again. Okay, we already made changes. Like, thanks for your concern, but we've already made some adjustments. Now, this communication, however, provided no update on the status of our request. Now, after receiving no subsequent information from you on November 28th, we wrote you again, reiterating our request, requesting material relating to your policy changes as you announced. Now, on December 4th, the department finally provided a response to our letter, offering a timeline and a brief description of the recent policy changes that were investigating Congress and congressional staff. Now, in response to our request, the DOJ provided only 2 publicly available documents, stuff we already had, concerning the indictment and the guilty plea of a select Senate Staff Intelligence Committee staff member. Footnote 6 is referencing a letter from Carlos Murillo.
Dude!
Now, the department produced no other documents.
What a fucking rip that was.
In its letter to the committee, DOJ represented that the legal process used, which reportedly sought.
I mean, there's no solace for the Lions, really. I mean, the Lions had a chance to get the number 1 seed. If they went out and San Francisco was to lose their last game, the Lions would have been the number 1 seed. Now they have third. They're going to be the 3rd seed, so they don't get that bye week. They'll be a home game. Their first game will be home, but it still sucks.
DOJ Office of Inspector General later determined that the department abused its FISA authority to surveil Mr. Page, and the department admitted that there was insufficient prediction for they just wanted to spy on Trump. If the DOJ's representation is accurate,
the Lions didn't want to go to overtime, and I don't blame them because they've already clinched a playoff berth. So they were going for 2. Well, the league doesn't like that when there's a possibility of an overtime and you decide, no, we're just going to win or lose.
People that had no connection to the DOJ.
They went for 2. They scored, tied it up, or was 1 point behind. They could have kicked and gotten an extra point, tied, and gone to overtime, but they chose to go for 2.
Whether the department sought to alleviate
Taylor Decker, one of their normally his linemen, but he went up to the official, and it's on video of the quarterback telling the guy, go report to the official that you're going to be an eligible receiver. He goes up to him, he reports as an eligible receiver. The official, his story is that he didn't do it, even though it's on video, him looking right at him and then him going over there and telling him. He said that someone else reported, or he told the defense that number 70 reported, who wasn't even in an eligible position on the line. They got the touchdown. He threw it to that guy. They got the touchdown, or not the touchdown, the 2-point conversion. After the play was out, they dropped the flag and said he was ineligible. So they tried it again. They're like, fine, we're going to do it again then. Even 7, first and goal on the 7, we're going to go for it. And then Dallas was offsides, so then we got a little bit closer. So we're like on the 3.5-yard line, and then we missed it. But still, it was stolen. I mean, I'm not saying the stolen victory. That 2-point conversion was stolen because there was still 20-something seconds left, and there's a possibility that they could have gone down and scored 2. I'm not saying they stole the game. I'm saying they stole the Lions' opportunity to win the game.
It feels like there's a cover-up on the foot here at the DOJ. And so Jim Jordan sends us.
I mean, if you search it, there's video on it. Of course, Dallas is saying, "Oh, he wasn't even covered. Blah blah blah. He wasn't eligible anyway." That isn't what the call was. It was an ineligible receiver caught it. And I even have a lot of friends that are Dallas fans. So. The powers that be in the NFL do. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless you were into the game, it was hard to tell who it was or what the reason behind my tirade was. But yeah, I was upset. It was a miraculous comeback. 1 minute, 40 seconds, and they drive down the field and score. Good thing about all that, though, is I won the fantasy Super Bowl. against the wife. Because even though we didn't win, the team didn't win, the line players that I had did pretty well that game. Where did you place? Well, dirty. I will say you did get an award. One of your players in week 5 scored the most points out of any players in the league. Yeah, we know. You've had a chance to beat some people that are on top. You have a good team. You just never did anything with it. You were starting people that were injured, people on bye weeks. It's okay though. It's always good to have a couple of those folks in the league. You got last, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you rounded up at the bottom. I think Matt got 7th. Matt got 7th. Farlap got 8th. And you got 12th. Or 10th, whatever. I don't know how many teams there was. I'm going to find something else to play and then we finish trimming my nails. Alright. Enough knee steering. Yeah. Same thing with the wife. If I hadn't been on her every week about making sure her lineup was right, she wouldn't have done as good. I mean, she had a better record than I did. She had the 3rd best record. I came in the number 4 seed. And I won the Super Bowl. Last week was very close, but then I kind of blew her out. She just, none of her players did shit for her. I don't even think she broke 100 that last week. I think I got 130. So. Russell.
That was broadcast on Al Jazeera, and then they did another one in the United States. Israel put enough.
Yeah, it's over for the year.
It wasn't broadcast.
But I'm going to save the league settings and send out invites and stuff for next year. We'll get some more people from the community in it. I'm definitely not going to let people that I don't know at all in it. The other players, besides Farlap and you and Anna and all them, we'll get a new invite. But the rest of the players that were in there were friends of my brother, and my brother himself. Yeah, it's over for the year. They do the Super Bowl before the end of the year, and you don't want to have the last week being your fantasy football Super Bowl week, because a lot of teams that don't have to kind of like bench players that they don't want to get hurt right before the playoffs. So you don't want that to happen.
All his quirks, many of them, nevertheless drew a line. He was not willing to be an Israeli puppet, and I think there's very strong evidence he ended his life under house arrest that the Israelis poisoned him to death. I think that's not conclusive, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that I think leads those of us who knew him probably to believe that that's what took place. The Oslo Accords were never viable in terms of establishing an actual independent Palestinian state, because remember, Israel controlled the border. borders. And by controlling the borders, for instance, in Gaza, they don't occupy Gaza, but because they control the borders, they control what goes in, what goes out.
This person behind me has an Alabama
October 7th. And they
plate on the front
in an instant, including, as they have done now, with this horrific assault on Gaza, the water supply, the electricity, the power plants, along, of course, with food. I mean, people were seeing serious cases of malnutrition.
I think they're just completely removing this exit.
There's no
This is weird.
sanitation anymore in Gaza. Many people have been pushed to the south.
I thought they were just redoing it, but now it looks like they're just removing it. That's the first time I've ever seen that, where they just removed it.
It's only 20 miles long and 5 miles wide. It's one of the most densely packed places on the planet. I mean, 5,000 dead children.
Yes, I acknowledge that there are discrepancies in reporting the types of violence that are conducted, perhaps by groups, regions, organisations that are disempowered versus imperial power. It's sort of common parlance to think of drone strikes as being very bespoke and rational and targeted and discerning, and what are even to use the term acts of terror as being hysterical and wild, and there are evident and clear discrepancies. It's often argued that this issue is undergirded by anti-Semitism, even with regard to the way that reporting on other deaths, Arab deaths in that region, for example in Syria, as a result of the sort of conflicts that have taken place there in the last couple of decades or whatever, there's not the same appetite to target the perpetrators of those kind of acts of violence. Where is anti-Semitism a relevant framing for issues in this region, and where is it not relevant?
It's not relevant when we equate the policies of the Israeli government or to criticize or attack the policies of the Israeli government, and therefore are accused of anti-Semitism. Israel is a state, and I would just throw in that I graduated from Harvard.
I don't know. I haven't seen him post anything.
All the time reading the Hebrew Bible, and the idea that the Israeli state represents the best of Jewish theology.
And look at the A on the back of that.
I mean, Judaism, like Christianity, these were religious systems that were written by oppressed peoples with an acute understanding of
Ohio Place in Alabama.
And the defense
front place.
And of course, any state is about the projection of power. So just as I would not consider Israel to be an expression of Judaism, I don't consider Saudi Arabia to be an expression of Islam. Theocratic states misuse religion to sacrifice power.
Who's in a hurry?
On the cusp of an election. So here in the United States, Trump has filled, he doesn't have any ideology, but he's filled his ideological void with the Christian fascism. I don't use that word lightly. I spent 2 years writing about the Christian right, the Christian fascists, American fascists, the Christian right, when they want to destroy America. I spent months and months with these people. They are heretical. They have used the Christian religion to sacralize the worst aspects of imperialism and capitalism and white supremacy as well. So that is the dividing line. Israel works very, very hard to erase that dividing line. So any criticism of Israel, any criticism of its policies, especially towards the Palestinians, then is equated with anti-Semitism. And we have seen now groups at universities, Students for Justice for Palestine, Jewish Voices for Peace, are being shut down and silenced because of very powerful donors, University of Pennsylvania, Harvard, where I went to school. These are, and it's very counterproductive, because by essentially attacking legitimate criticism of a state and branding it anti-Semitic, you are diluting or minimizing the real anti-Semitism, which is there. I mean, racism exists. It exists. I see it in the coverage. I mean, when Palestinians are discussed or reported on, they're not individualized. They're a mass. They're a dehumanized mass. When we hear about Israelis,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's when that witchy bishy person was trolling him about it.
Doctors, teachers, taxi drivers, poets.
I don't have any coins, so
The language
I'm not going to be in it.
The failure to use apartheid. Israel is an apartheid state. You won't see that word in the mainstream press. The act of genocide. When you seek to exterminate and certainly cutting off food, fuel, water, and the kind of saturation bombing that we have seen against.
No, that's been reported. You haven't seen shit.
Exterminate whole or part of a people. That is an act of genocide. So that is another word you won't hear. So a lot of it is
because it's not genocide.
The failure on the part of the press to use appropriate language and driven by the.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd travel for the hell of it for a couple days. Yeah.
Of essentially branding any critic of Israeli policy as
I'd be down.
anti-Semitic. Does anti-Semitism exist? Of course, it exists and it must be fought.
I'd love to be able to go to Houston next Monday and go to the national championship.
What unique strategic?
Although Houston is the one city in Texas that
Israel have in that region, how is it significant to American?
Kind of makes my nose wrinkle.
Corporatist and military-industrial complex interests, and is there a
El Paso's a close number 2 there.
Strategic value.
Both those cities are pretty disgusting.
By other players on the geopolitical stage, for example, Iran, Russia.
Yeah, fuck that.
Etc.
Right. So Israel has pushed America into all sorts of military fiascos that are in the interest of Israel, but not in the interest of the United States. The Iraq War being at the top of the list. There's been heavy lobbying by Netanyahu to go to war with Iran. That is not in America's interest. It is in Israel's interest to weaken
old El Paso.
So the Israel lobby has been quite effective in pushing the United States.
I've
Anthony Blinken
stayed in El Paso for a while when I was in the military, so I did some training there.
Very close to Israel.
Fort Bliss, which is definitely no bliss there. The place is a fucking shithole.
Really has traditionally been the wall that has blocked the United States from.
I love San Antonio though.
That Bibi Netanyahu very much wants to take place. Now, of course, this conflict in Gaza has brought him closer to that goal because the U.S. has deployed aircraft carriers and fleets in the Persian Gulf, which is a threat to Iran, and the fleet in the Mediterranean, which is a threat to Hezbollah, which is the Iranian proxy.
Yeah, I've seen the Alamo.
Netanyahu.
All it is a small building. I mean, it's not the whole Alamo the way it was back then.
And able to manipulate the United States.
Old chapel. It's tiny.
Dirty work, which are not.
But it's there. You've probably seen it on many of those Texas guys' videos. They'll go out to the area out in front of it and record and have some fun interactions.
That is why Israel has bombed the airports.
Didn't pee on it though.
In Damascus and Aleppo, because those are the arms transit points.
For sure. The Riverwalk there is pretty badass. I love that. I've been to a few cities, quote unquote, Riverwalks, and San Antonio probably has the nicest one that I've seen anyway. First time I got married was in San Antonio. That's where I did my medic training.
I would characterize them as relatively minor border clashes along the north. I think Hezbollah does not want a war with Israel. I don't think Iran wants a war with Israel. I don't think Syria wants a war with Israel. But once you open that Pandora's box of war, and I covered many conflicts, it controls you. You don't control it.
Yeah, Speedy was there.
So things can go horribly.
I've seen him do videos there.
In terms of Israel's power within the American community, that comes through its arms sales. So
that marriage lasted a year and a half. So I'm actually still in contact with her. She's still pretty young. She's cool. We were too young. I was fucking 19. She was 18.
It sells to the most retrograde.
It was stupid.
Governments in the world. It was a fervent supporter of the apartheid regime in South Africa. Covered the war Salvador and Guatemala. In the 1980s, Israel was supplying weapons and napalm to the Salvadoran military, to Rios Montt, who was carrying out genocidal campaigns on islands in Guatemala.
Yeah, your house, yeah.
The genocide in Rwanda, most of the fighters were carrying Israeli weapons. In Nagorno-Karabakh, with that ethnic cleansing of 80% of ethnic Armenians, they were supplied.
Russell Brandon's just staring through this guy like, oh my God, this guy's so full of shit.
They don't care who they sell to. And that gives them tremendous power, because the arms industry in many ways drives.
I like watching him squint when he disagrees with what somebody's saying.
Nations, and I think that's why you have seen governments in Europe and, of course, in Washington sign on for this genocide, because of that's a kind of secretive world, but a powerful one. And Israel is in that club. And remember, many of the Pegasus spyware that was used to track my friend Jamal Khashoggi, the Saudi journalist who was went into the consulate, the embassy in Accra, and was cut up. We haven't found his body by the Saudi regime. That's an Israeli creation. Many of the Israel.
No, that's a Saudi creation.
As a laboratory to test its weapons, and they will.
Saudis did that to their own persons.
Facilities drones. They're one of the biggest producers of drones, militarized drones. When they sell these weapons abroad, they call them "quote unquote" battle tested, because they've been used against the Palestinians. I mean, Israel has face recognition software where every single Palestinian, and they did not, of course, give their consent, is within that system. Is immediately.
Oh, like every government hasn't done that.
Surveillance technology
is
sold around the globe and used.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a desktop one.
Used against anybody that any state, including the most despotic states, see as a threat, including
Yippers, we'll have a desktop stream. Just gotta give me a few to get set up.
Here's that you, in a sense, is this true? See,
I think I'm just gonna be in Monroe most of the week this week, except Friday.
The more dominant partner in their relationship with the United States, but even in terms of weapon sales, like my assumption.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are still hungover, not hungover like literally hungover, but just
in that industry.
Still getting back to the flow from the.
Are you suggesting that
from the holidays?
Israel that drive these policies?
I was actually ready to get work, man. I love spending time with the wife, but I needed to get out of the house. All right, sorry, answering texts already. All right, guys, I'm gonna kill this. I'll be back in a bit, hopefully by 1. If I get things up, I'm gonna try and use the new IP system, but or the new string key, static string key, but we'll see. All right, love you guys. Thanks for riding with me, keeping me safe. Peace.